Landlubbers growing up in the automobile age are exposed to an incredible array of road signage. These signs may give you directions to specific destinations, warn you of hazards, give you special information, restrict your speed, even tell you where you are unwanted. And when you commit yourself to a street or highway, you have center lines to guide you, grass verges to separate you from oncoming traffic and keep you on track. You can go under or over other traffic, follow the curves of the road, go up and down hills. And when in doubt, you can consult a road map. You would think that many of the same devices would serve you when you go to sea. But the sea is a pathless way. Its surface is a flat plane in constant motion. Affected by wind, weather, visibility, ever-changing tides that not only vary in time and height, but in direction and strength. For these reasons, when you go to sea, the equipment with which you navigate is vital. Most of your routes are point to point. There are no paved center lines, so charting a course is necessary. What is a chart, and why is it essential to maintain an adequate, up-to-date supply of them? To begin with, it is totally different from a map, particularly a road map. Road maps are made to imprecise scale and are designed to help find a specific place or destination. They give distances in miles or kilometers to enable you to calculate driving time, and they are usually quite colorful. Charts, on the other hand, are drawn precisely to scale, with measurements in meters, fathoms, or feet, and lateral measurements in nautical miles, and they have a constant color system. On charts, all land is shown in buff, with contours measured from high water. Deep water is always white with contours to scale. Shades of blue indicate shallows below. Intertidal areas such as beaches, tidal flats, and rocks that are exposed at low tide are shown in green. So if you visualize it in elevation, a chart gives you a three-dimensional concept of land and water forms. There is much more you can learn from charts about the nature of currents, types of seabed, hazards, and landmarks. The making of charts is an ancient calling. Today's cartographers use the latest in electronic equipment, including computers, to maintain this time-honored profession. Our West Coast and Western Arctic charts are produced by the Canadian Hydrographic Service at the Institute of Ocean Sciences at Sydney, near Victoria. From this base, using a fleet of survey ships from the new flagship J.P. Tully down to smaller craft, surveyors are continuously probing the depths and nature of the sea bottom, using navigational instruments to pinpoint exact positions. Information from these lines of soundings are recorded, edited, digitized, and stored for recall as required. A chart is compiled including all data from surveys, aerial photos of landforms, and positions of Coast Guard aids to navigation. When the final elements have been checked and rechecked at least 6 times, the artwork is ready for reproduction. West Coast charts are printed in BC using an extremely precise 6-color process. The purpose of this program is to tell you about aids to navigation, show you how they appear on charts and what they look like when you come to them. We also want to tell you of the new Canadian Buoyage system, which is now making its appearance on the Pacific coast. Each year, as buoys are serviced and repainted, you will see more of these new aids. Transport Canada, through the Canadian Coast Guard, is responsible for maintaining aids to navigation in the Western Arctic, inland rivers and lakes, and along the Pacific coast from Race Rocks in Juan de Fuca Strait, the southernmost point of British Columbia, to Green Island near the Alaska border. There are 41 manned and many automated lighthouses located at critical locations along the British Columbia coast. Most are operated by two family units that share duties maintaining the lights, foghorns, and machinery that keep them operative. As well as making radio reports on visibility and wind and sea conditions to Environment Canada every 3 hours for rebroadcast to ships, boaters, and aircraft. A network of Coast Guard radio stations serve all the British Columbia coastal waters. The wreck of the steamer Valencia, with a loss of 117 lives, led to the establishment of a light station at Pachina Point in 1906. Estevan Light, nearly 13 stories high, was shelled by an enemy submarine during World War II. This is Triple Island off Prince Rupert on a rare calm day. Winds here can reach 100 knots. Ivory Island in Millbank Sound and Dryad Point near Bella Bella mark critical course changes in our inside passage. Nootka Light Station guards Friendly Cove, where Captain Cook made his first landing in 1778. The Canadian Coast Guard has district bases for supply and maintenance at Prince Rupert and Victoria, with warehouses, repair shops, and technical specialists that keep the lighthouses working, as well as 3 large lighthouse tenders and fleets of smaller craft. This is the Sir James Douglas, servicing one of the nearly 2,000 aids to navigation along the British Columbia coast. Prince Rupert Sikorsky S-61 helicopter is the largest of a fleet of 6 supplying lighthouses and assisting in aids maintenance. Both ships and helicopters may be called upon to assist in search and rescue operations. Besides lighthouses, there are 1,328 beacons with lights that come on automatically at dusk, and hundreds of lighted or unlighted buoys, some with gongs or whistles and radar reflectors and raycons. Smaller spars in close and tricky passages. Day beacons. Special purpose buoys. And range markers. All designed to assure your safe passage. As with our traffic lights, color has specific but different meaning. You are already aware of the port and starboard lights on your craft, red and green respectively. In the international system of navigation used in Canada, aids on your left hand going upstream are designated as port aids to navigation, colored green and flat-topped in shape. On your right-hand side, they are starboard aids to navigation, colored red and triangular or conical in shape. It's worth repeating. Port, green, square. Starboard, red, pointed. Of course, when you're sailing downstream, it's green on green and red on red. So what do we mean by up and downstream? In a river such as the Fraser, you keep red buoys to your starboard as you head upstream from Steveston to New Westminster. Upstream also applies to entering a harbor or going with the flood tide. Red right returning is a slogan many sailors use to remember. Where streams or ports don't apply, upstream is considered proceeding north along the Pacific coast. In the larger scheme, upstream becomes eastbound in the Arctic and southbound on the Atlantic coast. We call this the lateral system of aids to navigation. This is a freshly painted starboard day beacon ready for installation. Here it is in use. When the paint becomes weathered, the shape retains its significance. And this is a newly minted port day beacon. In use, with its square outline still giving a message at dusk or gray weather. Reflective material is now being used to sharpen the color when caught by a spotlight at night. On a chart, a day beacon may appear either as a dot, square, or triangle, with the letters BN beside it. Now let's look at lateral buoys. They come in three basic shapes: pillar, can, and spar. Pillars are usually light buoys and often have a noise-making device, radar reflector, or raycon. They have the same basic lateral color designation and meaning as day beacons. This starboard light buoy is in the Fraser River. Keep it to your right, going upstream. And this is a port light buoy at Ridley Island near Prince Rupert. You'll want it on your right side when you leave harbor. Aids in a series are numbered. The sequence begins at the mouth of the river and increases as you go upstream. All port or green have odd numbers. All starboard or red have even numbers. Port or green light buoys are always indicated in black on your chart. The white dot is its given position. Lights of any color, whether they're green, red, yellow, or white, are shown by a magenta or purple exclaimer. FLG indicates that it flashes green. The word bell is sometimes added if applicable. On older charts, port bell buoys may be shown this way. Starboard light buoys are shown in solid magenta with a black outline. This buoy has a quick flashing red light and whistle. There are two distinct silhouettes for lateral can buoys, flat-topped or conical. The port can buoy is always green. The starboard conical buoy is always red. Here is the port can buoy at Johnston Reef near Gordon Head. Note it is also odd numbered. And here is a conical starboard buoy at Center Reef off Thetis Island, even numbered. On your chart, it appears in magenta, while the green can again is always in black. Port and starboard spar buoys are indicated this way on your chart and appear this way at sea. Note the flat top and odd number on the port spar, and the pointed top and even number on the starboard spar. Keep it to your right, going upstream. By the way, never tie up to a navigational buoy. You may be creating a hazard or pulling it out of position. You will be breaking a law. Sometimes off the entrance to an inlet or harbor, or midstream in a river, you may see a red and white striped buoy such as this. It is called a fairway buoy and is located in deep water. This is how it looks freshly painted ashore. It marks a channel, not a hazard. On a chart, a fairway buoy appears this way with a vertical black stripe. Keep it to port no matter which way you are proceeding. Its light characteristic is indicated MOA. This stands for the Morse code letter A, dot dash. Here's how this would appear at night. Dot, dash. 4 seconds of darkness, then dot, dash. Dot, dash. Lamps of several different colors and various flashing patterns are installed on light buoys and beacons. Port hand lights flash in green and starboard lights in red. while beacons with no lateral significance flash white. Patterns vary when there are a number of lights in the same area. This light is flashing once every 4 seconds. A quick flashing light flashes every second. And a very quick light will flash twice every second. These quicker flashes indicate a turn or other feature of significance. We've just looked at several types of lateral buoys, noting their shape, color, and light characteristics. Now, let's look at another type of lateral aid to navigation. This is a starboard bifurcation buoy at Joan Reef in the Gulf Islands. It is predominantly red, with a green midstripe, and maintains the shape of regular starboard buoys with the conical or pointed top. The word bifurcation has botanical origins and refers to branches or stems. Therefore, it marks a shoal, reef, island, or other midstream hazard that may be passed on either side. The preferred route is to keep this buoy to starboard. The secondary channel is to pass it to port. Port bifurcation buoys are flat-topped, green, with a red midstripe, and the preferred channel would be to keep the buoy to port, while the secondary channel would pass it on the starboard side. There is one off Pointer Island south of Bella Bella. The colors green with a red stripe will also appear on flat-topped cans or spars. Watch for bifurcation day beacons too, port and starboard. This one is being erected in Collingwood Channel on the west side of Bowen Island. This port bifurcation beacon is off Schooner Cove. Lighted bifurcation buoys have their own light sequence, always flashing 2 and 1 in either 6 or 10-second intervals. Starboard bifurcation buoys appear this way on your chart. Their color, red, green, red, is always designated, while port bifurcation buoys will appear this way. Neither appear in magenta on charts. These radiating broken lines on a chart indicate a sector light. This one on Walker Rock and Trincomalee Channel points upstream into Houston Passage at the north end of Salt Spring Island. Outbound ships heading for this aid would know they were on course when they see white. If they saw red, they would correct by changing course to starboard. And if they saw green, they would alter to port. Always check your chart for the light characteristics of sector lights. Similar in use to sector lights are range day marks. They are located on land, usually in confined, well-traveled waterways, such as the northern approaches to Prince Rupert Harbor or the South Arm Fraser River. Always colored in stripes of white, red, or black, they come in keystone-shaped pairs. In using range day marks for a track, you want to keep the rear or upper day mark vertically in line with the front or lower day mark. When you are out of alignment this way, you are airing to starboard, or this way, airing to port. Ranges are often lighted for night navigation. We've called the use of green-red, port, starboard, and upstream designations the lateral system of aids to navigation. By international consensus, a new system based on the points of the compass has been introduced to our waters. It's called the cardinal system of Buoyage and is designed to specify where the deepest and safest water may be found, or the safe side in which to pass a hazard by using the 4 sectors of the compass: north, east, south, and west. The need for cardinal buoys, lateral confusion, is best demonstrated at Mary Island. There is a shoal to the south of the light station. Boats proceeding northwest up George's Strait might expect to see a starboard aid, while boats going up Welcome Passage would expect to see a port aid. And actually, until recently, this is what they saw. A bifurcation buoy is not the solution. It could compound the confusion with possibly disastrous results. To avoid lateral confusion, the port beacon has been replaced with a cardinal buoy, which appears this way on your chart. Let's look at the cardinal system. The north sector covers compass points between northwest and northeast, so a north cardinal buoy advises you that the safe passage or deep water is to the north of the buoy. Cardinal buoys are always painted yellow and black. Black is at the top of a north cardinal buoy. Most cardinals are topped by 2 conical shapes. In the north buoy, they both point up or north. On a south cardinal buoy, the yellow is at the top and the black at the bottom, indicating south. The 2 cones point down or south. Now let's go back to Mary Island and look at the new cardinal buoy there. It is a south cardinal buoy advising mariners, particularly sports fishermen who frequent the area, that there are dangerous reefs to the north or toward the lighthouse. Here is a south cardinal spar at Gonzales Point off Oak Bay, and a cardinal light buoy near Discovery Island in Harrow Strait. The safest and deepest water is to the south. The east cardinal buoy covers the sector between northeast and southeast. The east cardinal is predominantly black with a yellow stripe. Safe passage is to the east. East cardinal cones are base to base. To help you remember, visualize an arrow on the right side of the cones, pointing east. Pass on the west side of a west cardinal buoy. They are yellow with a black center stripe. West cardinal cones are point to point. The right side arrow would point west. Nanaimo Harbor, with 2 entrances at the north and south ends of Newcastle Island, has seen some lateral confusion between inbound and upstream designations. To the northwest of the island in Departure Bay, there is now a west cardinal light buoy. There's a shoal to its east. While to the south of Newcastle Island, a starboard spar has been replaced with this west cardinal spar. Both cardinals clarify the safe approaches to Nanaimo's small craft channel, Newcastle Passage. To review, north, black at top, cones pointing up or north. South, black at bottom, cones pointing south. East, black with yellow stripe, cones base to base. West, yellow with black stripe, cones point to point. Cardinal buoys show where the deeper, safer water is. When lighted, cardinal buoys flash a quick or very quick white light. To help you remember their light characteristics, think of a timepiece. East at 3 o'clock flashes a series of 3s. South at 6 o'clock flashes 6 times in sequence, followed by a long dash, darkness, and then repeats. West at 9 o'clock flashes 9 times in series. And north flashes continuously. Now, when you see a symbol on a chart such as this, you'll know this is what you'll see. On charts of areas traveled by deep-sea vessels such as Georgia and Juan de Fuca Straits and Vancouver Harbor, you'll see these shaded bands of magenta-colored traffic separation schemes. These are the maritime versions of a divided highway, indicating where vessels should keep to the right of a designated traffic separation zone. The center of these zones are normally marked by cautionary light buoys, always painted yellow. On your chart, they appear this way: a hollow pillar buoy with the letters FLY. This indicates that at night they flash a yellow light every 4 seconds. Although the function of a traffic separation zone cautionary buoy is similar to a fairway buoy, it is advising you that you are in the center of a route traveled by large vessels. Small craft should stay clear of traffic routing systems, cross them only at right angles when required, and yield right of way to larger vessels. There are a number of other cautionary or special purpose buoys, usually closer to shore, that are coming into common usage. This yellow warning buoy was used during construction of the Annacis Island Bridge. This shows a swimming area. Boating is prohibited. And with this flag, divers are in the vicinity. Use extra caution. The standard light for cautionary buoys is yellow. If you see yellow flashing every 4 seconds, determine the buoy's purpose. As a general rule, you'll want to stay clear. Now, let's look at a practical application. We have just cleared Sandhead's Light at the mouth of the Fraser River main arm, en route from Vancouver, Victoria bound. We have noted and kept to port the red buoys and fixed beacon tower to the south of the light station. Before embarking, we had plotted a course for active pass light. We had also calculated that the distance, 15 nautical miles, at a speed of 12 knots, would take 1¼ hours. The Gulf is calm, so this might be a good time to have your mate take the helm while you get yourself a cup of coffee and address yourself to the large-scale charts of active pass and other information sources. It's a good time to consider how and under what conditions you'll be going through the pass. You're aware that you're going south, therefore downstream, so red aids will be on your port, green to starboard. You recheck your tide book and note that you will be passing at slack water. The chart shows tidal currents can reach 8 knots, but you'll want to stay close to the west or starboard shore in any event. Again, you check your heading for active pass lighthouse. Not only is it the most conspicuous aid, but checking your list of lights, buoys and fog signals, you note that this light is white, flashing every 10 seconds, day and night. The original tower was erected in 1885. Your chart confirms that there is a foghorn and radio beacon here, and that there are some nasty rocks in the vicinity. The radio beacon's frequency is listed in your radio aids to navigation book. Active pass light is at Georgina Point on Main Island. The present tower, built in 1976,